Between wake and sleep, Margie conjured a memory of the winter she, Frank, and the girls played putt-putt in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. They had rented a cheap motel room behind the pancake houses and t-shirt shop, but fought over using the credit card for the Ripley's Aquarium. He'd already used it to buy liquor, Margie argued. Frank sprang for the ski lift ride up to the overlook instead, and when Carmen suggested putt-putt, he relented to get everyone's mind off the aquarium. They bundled up and rented clubs for everyone, even Catherine. The course sported an Alpine Village theme, and the tiny houses and windmills enchanted her. She stared into every little window as she imagined an entire life in those miniature buildings, where she could talk to everyone in the village, or perhaps no one talked at all. She clapped her hands when the golf balls disappeared under a house and reappeared at some odd angle on the other side. Carmen and Frank laughed with her, a simple memory, but Margie's fondest of Catherine and Frank. And then Margie dreamed of the previous summer. Carmen was in Knoxville with Frank, but they stopped at the mall first. At one point, Margie turned and Catherine was gone. Everyone searched frantically through store after store until a cop called over the walkie-talkie that he'd found Catherine in the parking lot crying. She was pointing to a Raggedy Ann doll in the back seat. But an hour before, Carmen had retrieved a hat from the car and moved it where they wouldn't have to walk back the entire length of the mall. Catherine couldn't have known where the car was, yet had walked seemingly straight to it. And then Margie fully awakened. Catherine never got lost. She had a preternatural sense of direction, and soon sobs convulsed like cancer through Margie's soul. She knew Catherine would never be found alive. Hey, is this Nick Wingate at the Valero gas station? Yes. Tim Trent, Sheriff's Office. You called about the missing girl? Yes. Shall I begin at the beginning? Please. Well, things are pretty quiet usually overnight on Thursdays. I generally only get truckers and drunks in the store after midnight. But about 2:45, this car pulls up, a grayish old car, like a Camry or a Accord or something, and this teenage boy in a Powell Valley Letterman's jacket jumps out and comes inside with a $10 bill for gas. You know, the typical teenager fill-up. And I thought, I've seen him before. I've seen him and his girlfriend in the store in the mornings before school buying cappuccinos and donuts like all the kids do. And I looked out the window and I thought maybe the girl was in the car too. But I couldn't see real good because they were parked behind pump 3, you know, on the back side of the far pumps. And I didn't think anything of it right then, but it was a weird time to get Powell Valley students on a weekend and all. Okay, go on. Well, I probably wouldn't have even remembered them coming, but, and this is the good part, an hour later, same boy, different car. I mean, ain't that weird? He came back in a big fancy F-250 truck. Couldn't miss it. And he had somebody else with him that time. Older, it looked like his mom maybe. And this time he pays with a debit card and fills up completely. And I'm thinking, okay, this is weird, but who cares? None of my business, right? But then there were these girls in here this morning, more Powell Valley students, I could tell. And they were talking about the little girl that was missing. And one of them said she was Carmen King's sister, who was Bo Parker's girlfriend. And I thought, hey, that's it. Maybe that was Bo Parker I seen the same night the girl disappeared. Well, here's the thing. I thought, okay, what would Nick Stokes do? You know, the guy on CSI. He and I have the same name, see? Nick. And I said, Nick, what would Nick do? Well, I went back through the debit receipts from the night before, and sure enough, Laurie Parker. She's who paid for the gas the second time, you know, the truck. And then I looked up Bo Parker in the Powell Valley Boosters calendar by the register, and blammo, now I got proof. Listen, you got any video? Can you get a picture of Bo Parker in the store with a timestamp? Well, I'm not actually supposed to touch the security stuff, and I don't know if we keep the videos after 24 hours. I could ask. Yeah, you do that. And I may need you down at the station at some point for a deposition, too. Yeah, sure, whatever you need. I can come to court and testify, too. I got a court and a suit and everything. Hey, there ain't a reward, is there? Lex Fremont of CNN News. I know who you are, Mr. Fremont. I'm Ed Gentry. Well, Mr. Gentry, I'd like to ask you about your reaction to Catherine King's disappearance, if you don't mind. I reckon I could do that. Under any other circumstance, the small coal mining community of Big Stone Gap, Virginia, would be all smiles right now. The local high school football team just defeated their cross-country rivals to cap a 9-win season and enter the playoffs heavily favored. But early Friday morning, a local autistic girl, Catherine King, disappeared into the extreme cold temperatures gripping the region, breaking the hearts of everyone in Big Stone Gap. Mr. Gentry, how has the disappearance of Catherine King affected this community? Well, it's just a terrible thing. We've known Catherine for years. She and my grandson are classmates at school. She can't talk, and I just can't imagine what she's been through and how her family is able to cope right now. We just pray for her safety and really hope she's found soon. Thank you very much, Mr. Gentry. Samantha Peterson. You looked good, Pop. Not bad for an old coal miner. Why, Mr. Lex Fremont, how do you possibly know who I am? I saw your recent work, and it was very good. May I join you in this fine establishment? I'd be delighted. So tell me, what's a bright young woman like you doing in a small market like this? Well, I grew up here, actually. In Kingsport? No, in Dungannon, just over the mountain. Which is even more isolated than Big Stone Gap. Charming. Hey, this is a great place to be from. Beautiful mountains, friendly people, safe place for your kids. You got kids? Well, no. You? God, no. Well, not to pick on your neck of the woods, but just how safe do you think things have turned out for Catherine King? What do you mean? What I mean is, are you buying the story we're being fed? Aren't you the slightest curious there's more to this than we're being told? Such as, well, the sister, for starters. I suppose it's possible Catherine left the house without her sister hearing her, but it seems unlikely. And then they can't find the girl anywhere? Starting to sound a little fishy. Ah, you're holding out on me. You know something. Well, we just got video from a gas station of the boyfriend filling up Carmen's car at the time she says Catherine was missing, and the boyfriend filling up his truck an hour later. Very nice, Miss Peterson. I think they just snuck out of the house being teenagers, and Catherine woke up and went to look for him. But the better story right now is that they are somehow implicated. Well, I'm not looking to destroy anybody's life. We don't destroy lives. The facts destroy lives. We're just storytellers. I thought we were journalists. Same difference. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you'll be ready for bigger markets. I'm just going back over the timeline. Why don't you start at the beginning? You know, Catherine was in the house at 2:30. You were working on the computer then. Do you remember hearing any noises inside, outside the house, anywhere? No. And then you went to bed and woke up later and discovered Catherine was gone. Yes. What was your first instinct? Where did you think she was? I thought she would have gone to Mom's room or the sofa, but she wasn't. So where did you first think she might have gone? I had no clue. I checked the car, the shed, and then came inside and just cried. Carmen, were you here when Catherine wandered off? No. Carmen picked me up behind the hospital. I couldn't take my truck because my mom would have heard it. It's a straight shot through the woods from our backyard to the hospital parking lot. And what time was that, son? 11:30. I told Carmen to meet me at 11:30. Bo and I don't get to see each other that much. Never just us. And you guys stopped to get gas. That was later, on the way back to Bo's. I was hungry. Margie's never got food, so we went to McDonald's. And what was Catherine doing when you got there? She was asleep. Carmen checked. She was asleep the whole time. So you snuck over to your girlfriend's. Her mother's not there, and her sister's asleep. And you left the house at 2:30, and you checked on Catherine. Honest, we never meant for anything like this to happen. Catherine always stayed asleep before. And when you got back, Catherine was gone.